New hoodie, by the way. Shout out to old bro. This shit's fucking, hold on. This shit's fucking fire. New hoodie go. Oh, you got the fucking Marlboro logo. It's got fucking old bro on there. This shit goes hard as fuck. But anyways, back to the gameplay. Today, we are going to be editing some Rocket League TikToks. Currently live on Twitch. If you want to ever stop by and watch me do this shit live, link will be down in the description. I'm going to edit this shot that my random solo queue teammate hit. I'm going to be turning it into a TikTok that I saw for inspiration. This is the shot we're going to use right here. This hit by a random in one of my games, and I told him I'd make a TikTok out of it because it was clean. Got a nice little dribble to reset to continuing the dribble right over button. The TikTok that I am going to be copying is by a creator known as EdoWRL. I don't know how you pronounce that. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Great guy, insane edits. Follow him if you don't already. I'll link his TikTok down below as well. But this is the TikTok that he posted January 13th that I was in love with. I'm going to use the same song. I'm going to try and mimic the edit style and just show you how I would do it. And hopefully this will help some of y'all out there. So for starters, all cinematics I record in Rocket League are at 10% speed, and in post, that is where I use time remapping and or Twixtor, depending on the effect I'm using, to up the speed back to normal. Tip, anytime you're recording a Rocket League cinematic, you always want to go into your video settings and cap your FPS at 60. Don't ask why, Rocket's just a really buggy game, so anytime you record anything, you just want to cap it at 60 because that's going to be the frame rate of the VOD that we're creating, or the TikTok that we're making. So if you cap it at 60, you won't have any of those weird artifacts, and whenever you're trying to line up clips between maps, it just works. Also, as you can see right here and right here, when I play Rocket League, I like to have my frame limiter, or my frame counter, and my time, my world clock. Both of those will be active, and they will be shown if you record 1920 by 1080. If that is the case, and you are as well, all you have to do is press F2 to open BAKKESMOD. You go into MISC, and system time and FPS counter. You're going to want to turn both of those off, so that way your screen's clean. I'm creating a TikTok, however, so it's only going to be it's only going to be vertical, so that doesn't really matter, so I'll leave mine on. But just heads up, if you haven't already, you might want to turn that off. Just a side note, I use a program called Reshade. It's pretty much just like in-game color correction. It allows you to alter how the game looks. This is what Reshade looks like when it's open. You can create different presets. For Reshade specifically, all your keybinds in here are down here. If you want to learn more about Reshade, there's a great video made by a YouTuber named Zeke. It's how I learned. It's kind of hard for me to explain, so I'll just link that video down below as well if you want to check it out and use it yourself. And we're going to be using the same preset I used in my 23 Rocket League edit. I'm going to be using Reshade, so that way I don't have to color correct and post. You might have to do minor tweaks here and there, but typically I keep it the same how it is. So once you've done both of those things, we are going to go back to before the shot. We're going to see exactly how it plays out, so we can see where we want the POV, where we want the cinematic. I always like to record a little bit more than I think I need, just in case I need something more in post. I don't have to reopen Rocket League. Right here, we're going to limit it to 10% speed. We're going to press H until all the name tags and stuff disappear, and then we're going to start recording in OBS, so that way we can record the actual cinematic, and then we'll stop it after. We're going to turn Reshade off after we record that first cinematic. We're actually going to be copying how he did the POV shot into the cinematic, and to make that look clean, I'm going to walk you through how to do it. It's also learned on YouTube. I'll link that video down below. I think it was Pulse Tornado that taught me this. I don't fully remember. So apologies for that off the top of my head, but I will link it down below. To do this, we're actually going to have to reload the cinematic, or reload the replay file, because when you first load the replay file, you cannot go to the free cam at all. You have to go to the POV of the person you want to record. You need it to be on player view. So I'm going to go to auto cam and I'm going to choose IND into player view. And then we want to go to where we want the cinematic to start. I want the cinematic to start roughly around the reset. Okay, so here is where it gets really technical. So I'm going to press escape so I don't mess anything up. We're going to open our BAKKESMOD console. Now, if you've never recorded cinematics before, these are the top 3, the really only 3 that you need to record cinematic. I'll have these all typed out in the description below so you can copy paste if you want. First, you're going to type in EXEC dolly cam. And then you're going to type in dolly underscore enter P mode 5. And then you're going to type in dolly underscore spline underscore ACC 5000. Okay. After you've done that, you're going to hold your left mouse button and go to none. You're going to zoom out 2 times, press 5 on your keyboard or whatever your keybind is for setting keyframes. If you don't know where it is, you can open BAKKESMOD, go into bindings, and you can see right here, dolly snapshot take, dolly activate, and dolly deactivate. Default, I think, are numpad 5, numpad 1, and numpad 2. So right here, we're going to press numpad 5 on the pedal. I'm going to open the console again to see, make sure that deactivated. The dolly cam's deactivated, we have the snapshot. So we're going to play it a little bit. I personally feel like it's easier to go into 100% speed because you move around a hell of a lot slower than if you're in 10% speed. It goes a lot faster and you don't get as precise. We're going to go a little bit closer, probably about right here. And we're going to press numpad 5 again. And then you always want to make sure you go back to 10% speed when you record cinematics. So we're going to play it a little bit further. Go back to 100 so we can move around a little bit more. We're going to add a little bit of tilt. Take a screenshot there. Going to go back to 10%. Record a little bit more of the cinematic. Go back to 100 so we can move a little bit more. Take a screenshot there. Go back to 10%. Go back to 100. Press numpad 5. Make sure that just took. Yep. Go back to 10%. Take a screenshot. Back to 10. Once we get that, we get really close. Take the screenshot. Go to 10%. And then on this, we're going to come out and to the right. Take a screenshot. And you always want to play it a little bit after you record it. So then after you record it, you can press O on your keyboard. You can actually see the path that you just created. Every red point is where we press 5 on our numpad to write down or to save the actual snapshot. And then all of those combined is the path that we played. So from here, you want to make sure you deactivate the path. Again, if you go into your BAKKESMOD settings, just regular BAKKESMOD, you go to bindings and you find dolly deactivate default numpad 2 as I showed earlier. Make sure it's deactivated, and then you want to scrub backwards to before the cinematic started. When it's in the cinematic, it will be red in the middle. You want to go to before the cinematic starts, which mine would be roughly right here. And then you always want to play it a little bit just because Rocket League gets kind of glitchy. So once you are ready to record the cinematic, what you're going to want to do is press numpad 1, activate the path. If you're not sure if it activated or not, you can press F6 to go into your BAKKESMOD console. And here you can see dolly cam activated right there. After we've activated the path, we're going to press H 1, 2, 3 times to get rid of all the tags and stuff. We're going to press O to hide the path. And then we're going to turn on our reshade, which is a binding you can have chosen yourself. For reshade specifically, all your keybinds in here are down here. And from here, we're going to record the cinematic. So after the cinematic is done, first thing you want to do is press numpad 2 to deactivate your path. Then you can move freely around. We're going to press O, so that way we can see our path again. Personally, I'm going to save the path. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to do this in case something fucks up. We're going to type in dolly path, save, and we're going to call this tutorial 1. So to get the map change effect, it's a BAKKESMOD plugin called Replay Manipulator open source. I will have this linked in the description as well. There's a lot to link in the description of this video. I apologize, but hopefully all of this will make sense. This is a very technical video. So once you install it, you can go into plugins from your BAKKESMOD, and you'll have a lot of these plugins already. But Replay Manipulator, we're gonna open the window, and then from here, we can change pretty much anything about the replay that we want. For every person in the replay, there's an individual tab. I can change what car they're using, what decal they have, what wheels they have, boost, antenna, hat, all that shit. I can change the paint color, custom decal, I can rotate their car. What we really want is a map. We want a map change. So as you can see, it's Deadeye Canyon on Oasis. We are going to change, and we're just gonna get a bunch of different maps. We're gonna record that same cinematic on a bunch of different maps. Then in post, we can go through and stitch them all together to where it looks like the map change effect. Crazy, right? I know it took fucking forever for me to figure this out. So we are going to go to OG Aquadome. As you can see, it's the same game, same replay, but it's on Aquadome. So first thing you always want to do is go to Flycam with nobody, and we're gonna go back before this shot was scored. So as you can see, that little red line indicates he's in the path. So we want to go up before the path, play it a little bit, and then we're gonna press H to hide everybody. I'm gonna press page up to turn on reshade, turn O to hide the path. We're gonna press numpad 1 to activate the path, and then from here we are going to just play and record the cinematic. So again, after you finish recording that cinematic, you're just gonna press numpad 2 to deactivate the path. That way you can move freely. I'm gonna press H to get our timeline to show back up, O to show our path, and we're gonna turn off reshade just because I don't like to look at reshade unless I'm recording the cinematic itself. So pretty much you're gonna copy and paste that same thing on just map after map after map. I'm not gonna show this in the video, but you just record it on a bunch of different maps, and you'll see all the different maps once we get to the part in After Effects. Another thing I do want to point out before we go into making the actual cinematics, a very important step to get that fade to black effect. When you're recording your POV, you're gonna want to press F on your keyboard to bring up the green screen that's built into Rocket League. You don't need a plugin for this. You could choose green and chroma key it out, and then to hide the other people, because as you can see, even if you hide the name tags by pressing H, the easiest or the best way I can do it is that plugin that I mentioned earlier, Replay Manipulator. If you open window, you can go to each individual player and hide them. Like this is me, for example. So if I go to me, Ducks, I hit hidden, bam, card disappeared, and you get a perfectly clean green screen. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go to 10%, and we're just going to record this cinematic. So once you're in After Effects, we're just gonna create a new project, new composition, and we're gonna call this Randoms Rocket League. Here we have the folder. I go through and I name all of my clips. These 5 right here are for the actual video that we're making. This will be edited in Premiere and uploaded to YouTube, but the actual cinematics are all right here. I have the POV, I have the POV to cinematic, and then I have maps 2 through 10. So now we're gonna add our POV shot and our green screen layer, and we're gonna sync these 2 up. On the POV shot, we're gonna find where we wanna start. By pressing Control, Shift, and D at the same time, we can split the clip, and then we'll go to the end right about here, and we'll split the end off. So we can delete that, and we can delete that, drag that to the front, and then we gotta find a spot to sync up. We'll do right when he takes the boost pad. We're gonna turn the green screen layer on. That should be synced. Nice. So we can Control Shift D and delete that part of it. And just so they're the same length, we'll take Control Shift D and delete that part. Now we're gonna add time remapping to both of them, because as you can see, very, very slow. So to add time remapping, we're gonna press Control, Alt, and T at the same time on both clips. The way this works is when you do it, it creates a keyframe automatically at the beginning and the very end of your clip. But since we've already cropped it to where we want it, we are going to hold Shift to get it to snap, and we're gonna create a new keyframe for the beginning and the end of the part that we cropped. And we're gonna do this for both of them. And then I always like to go back to the beginning to get them to sync up perfectly. And then from here, we're gonna find the speed we want, and to do that, we take that ending keyframe that we just made, we're gonna drag it a lot closer, because it's taking the time of that full clip from the beginning of the keyframe we just made, or the beginning of the keyframe we made and the ending of the keyframe we made, and we're pushing them together, which means it still has to play through that whole video, but it's just got to get there faster because we scrunch those keyframes together. So it's just going to play through a lot faster. So now we'll play this back, see what the speed looks like. still a little bit slow, so we'll bring it a little bit faster. It's a little bit fast. Yeah, that's about a good speed. So then we'll hold shift to snap to this keyframe, and we'll do the same and drag this one to meet it. That way, they're matched. Sometimes it's a tad bit off, but to fix that, all you have to do is hover over your green screen layer, press T on your keyboard to show opacity, and we're gonna do it about 50%, and we're just gonna zoom in, and we're gonna go back to our time remap. You can do that just by pressing this little caret here and show your time remap keyframe. We're actually gonna zoom in on this keyframe to get this pretty much perfect. It was literally just one frame off. And then we can change the opacity back to 100. Now we're gonna go into our effects and we're gonna type in key, and we're gonna be looking for this key light 1.2. Drag this onto our green screen layer, and we're gonna choose this, choose that. We want this to be black. Do that since we've keyed out the green. We're gonna add a new. All you gotta do is right click in this opening, a new solid. We're gonna make it black. I'm gonna drag this under our green screen layer. And as you can see, now that we've keyframed out the green and we've added that black solid, now we just have what was shown in the green screen layer, but with a black solid. I'm gonna drag this into here. Drag this into here. If you press L on the keyboard twice, you can see the audio waves, the waveforms. So we just gotta find where exactly it clicks. So we're gonna add a marker right here, just for when the beat drops. And to do that, all you gotta do is drag this little keyframe. You just click and hold it, and you can drag it wherever you want. I need the cinematic part to start right here. So to find out how I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna go back to the project. We have POV to cinematic, and we gotta find where this one starts. Again, you can use page up and page down to move the frames. So it starts right here. So again, Control Shift D to split the clip, take the part we don't need and delete it. And then we'll go to the end right here. Control Shift D and delete it. So right here is where we need the cinematic to start. Now I have to sync up the POV shot to the cinematic shot. And to do that, we're gonna go again to our opacity by pressing T, and we're gonna drop it to 50%. That way when we look at it, we can see what it looks like. So we're gonna find roughly where he goes under the ball. We're gonna drag it, and then we're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna move this until it gets perfect. That's not perfect, but that's pretty much the best you're gonna get. So we'll add some kind of effect there to make that sync up a little bit better. So we're gonna take all of these, and we're gonna drag it right there. This will start the fade. And then we'll regain it there. So the green screen is a little bit off, so we're gonna change the opacity to about 50 here. I'm gonna zoom in, and we're gonna sync that back up. Going to open the opacity for both of the green screen layer and the black solid. And we're gonna keyframe the opacity. Then we're gonna come here, and we're gonna add the same keyframe. And we're gonna go back to the beginning. We're gonna set this to 0, set that to 0. So when you play it, it'll fade to black. And then what I like to do is highlight all 4 of these keyframes, and you're gonna easy ease them. To do that, you're gonna hold F or function and 9 or F9. You can also right click keyframe assistant and then easy ease. And then we're gonna go into our graph editor here. We're gonna select the opacity of our green screen layer. We're gonna click this first little dot. We're gonna drag it up to about that line. And then we're gonna drag this one out. We're gonna do the same for this one. Then we're gonna go back and look how that looks. And that is how you make that little green screen effect. So this is the part where we add the different maps. So in this part, I like to add markers for every single time I want the map to change. So where she goes, nothing new, nothing new, nothing new, nothing new. I add keyframes to every time she says it. That way I know when to cut for each new map. Go back to the folder. I'm gonna choose maps 2 through 10. I'm gonna add them into the project. And then from here, we're gonna add one at a time and we're gonna sync them up. So we'll sync it up to right here where he hits the ball. We'll sync it up right there and split that part off. And we need to find where he hits the ball. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit for this. So now these should be synced up. So you pretty much just want to do that, and you want to sync up all of your maps identically. So I'm going to go through and do that real quick. I'm going to stop recording because it's going to get really boring to watch, but I'm just going to do that really quickly and I'll be right back. Now that we have all 10 maps synced up perfectly, as you can see, if we go to any given point, we can turn it off and it's the same part in a different map every time. We're going to check the speed of it and see what the speed looks like. We actually need to speed this up, so we're going to go to the shortest one and we're going to split the ends off of all of these others. Then what we need to do is hide everything but the first map that we're going to do, and we are going to time remap it. So Control-Alt-T to bring up time remapping. Same as before, create a keyframe at the end, and create a keyframe at the end, and we're going to bring this a little bit closer and just see how fast we want. A little bit faster. Okay, right here where she says please is where we want the goal explosion to be. We're gonna go a little bit before it. Cough cough. So right here, we're gonna add a marker because we need the speed of all of these to match that. Now we are going to time remap the other 9, and we're going to sync them all up with the same keyframe. So again, go to the beginning, keyframe, keyframe, drag this one there, and hopefully these are still lined up. And so we're just going to do the same thing for all of the other ones. So now we're going to hide all of the keyframes for now. We have to mark every time we want a map change. Nothing's new. So now that we have all the keyframes that we need, this is the part where we start splitting. We have our map 1 and our map 2. So our map 1, we're going to create a keyframe here. And then our map 2, we're going to create a keyframe here. And a keyframe here. So map 1, we can split here and delete it. Map 2, and delete that. Then we want to show our time remap. So we're going to take these two, we're going to easy use them. We're going to take these two, and we're going to easy use them. So when we go into our graph editor, we're going to zoom in. We're going to drag this one up, and we're going to drag this one down. Just enough to where we still have motion in the middle. We're going to do the same for this one. And we're going to see how that plays out.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing.
Yeah, that's good. So then this one, our map 3, we're gonna show it. We're gonna create a keyframe here and a keyframe here. We're gonna select it, split the clip there, show our keyframes again, highlight the 2 on the end, F9 to easy ease. We're gonna zoom in on the graph editor, and we're gonna do the same thing. Bring that up, bring that down. As long as there's a little motion in the middle, we're fine. And then we're gonna watch this one more time, and this will just show you how it works. And then from the rest, I will just continue through it by myself.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing.
So now that we have all of the clips synced and composed the same way I was talking about earlier, all of these can be split. The ends can be split, but I just left them hanging. It doesn't really matter, because it doesn't matter if I left this overhanging because this clip's on top of it, if that makes sense. But after you do the same time remap for every one, and you easy ease them all to where they all have the we'll go here for example and just zoom in, so they all have that high-low setup. We're gonna play it one time, and then I'm gonna talk through what just popped into my head after doing it.
'Cause I know that we fall apart when nothing's new, 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 please.
So that's what we got so far. But what I want to do right here, if you zoom in a little bit towards the end of it, she goes nothing new, very, very fast. And then right here is where it starts to slow down. And after this last map, I kind of want to do, I'm going to alter it into a goal cinematic. But again, that's the beauty of editing. It's never, look at this one TikTok, I'm going to copy it exactly. It's everybody has their own style, right? So you can copy exactly what I'm doing in this tutorial to get the same effect on whatever clip you want to do, or whatever edit you want to do. But the best part about editing is everybody's got their own style. Everybody's got something that they think looks better than what somebody else thinks. And that's why all of these crazy videos come out, because, you know, this guy probably saw somebody else do something and he took it and made it his own. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of editing. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to add in a goal cinematic on the end. I'm going to do it right here. So I'm going to Control-Shift-D, delete that.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing.
Actually, I'm going to trim all of these, just because I like to have a neat timeline. I'm very particular about this kind of stuff. You don't have to do this. Then I can close all of these out. Not close them, but just hide them for now. And before I save, I'm just going to make sure that everything still flows.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing.
Let the RAM catch up a little bit.
Nothing's new, 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 nothing's nothing's new. Nothing's new, 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 please.
Okay, so as you can see, I still need 1, 2, 3, and then we'll fade it out on 3. So after this clip right here, 1, 2, 3, fade out. But to do this, we need to go back into Rocket League and record 3 new goal cinematics. And drag this to the very top, find where it starts, ends right there. So we can delete that and delete that. Now that we have it lined up, we're going to enable time remapping, which again, Control-Alt-T. I'm going to line up at the beginning of where we cropped it, create a keyframe, go to the end of where we cropped it, create a keyframe, and then we're going to go to this last one. We know we only want it to be this long. And we're going to see how fast this plays.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, please.
And so then we're going to create keyframes at both of these points in the middle where we know the song hits.
Nothing's new, nothing's
So now we're going to select all 4 keyframes, press F9, F9, there you go, wrong button, whoop. Or you could right click keyframe assistant in easy ease. After you do that, you're going to highlight all of the keyframes, go to your graph editor, and we're going to zoom in just a little bit. So this one needs to come up, this one needs to come up, this one needs to come up, and this one needs to come down. We're going to see how that plays out first.
nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, please.
This needs to have a little bit more oomph, I think. We'll go to this one, zoom in a little bit more. I'll even drag that one down a little bit.
Nothing's new, nothing's new, please.
I like that. Now that we have that done, we can start adding effects. Starters, I think for each individual map change, we're just going to add a little bit of a screen pump and a little bit, I like to add a little bit of an exposure bump just to give it that little flash effect. To do my screen pump method, you're going to click on somewhere open, you're going to create a new adjustment layer. Now you can right click somewhere in the open and do new adjustment layer, or if you want, you can just press Control-Alt-Y, and that will create an adjustment layer. And again, I like mine to be perfectly lined up, so I'm going to have mine start, well yeah, we'll do it right here. I'm going to Control-Shift-D to split the clip, or you can come up here to split layer right here under edit. I just like the keybinds because I personally feel like it makes everything go faster. So we're going to zoom in and make sure that's lined up. This you're going to need the Sapphire plugin for. I don't know how to do this otherwise. I'm sure there are other methods out there. But if you don't have the Sapphire plugin, you're going to have to pay for it. Pretty sure there are other methods to get it out there. We're going to get our shake plugin, drag it onto our adjustment layer. I have a preset already. I'll show you all the settings on this so you can save it as your own preset once you have it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the very start of where we want it. We're going to keyframe the amplitude at 6. We're going to go anywhere between 10 to 20 frames. I'm just going to go 10 because this is going kind of fast. So we'll hit page down, because page up and page down go forward and backward a frame. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll set the amplitude to 0 again. You also want to make sure your motion blur is checked. The only things I really changed in this preset was the amplitude. The frequency I've set to 15. And then these are my X shake, my Y shake custom settings, and my tilt shake custom settings. Everything else I left the same. But again, motion blur, very, very important you leave that on. You're going to come back to beginning, make sure the adjustment layer is selected, and you're going to press U on your keyboard to show the keyframes. So you're going to highlight these, you're going to easy ease them. So F9, right? We're going to go into our graph editor. We're going to choose this. We're going to bring this one all the way down, and we're going to bring this one all the way out. And this one, it can go all wonky and all over the place, but to keep it in a straight line, if you just hold shift, it'll stay straight. We'll play that back and see what that looks like.
Nothing's new, nothing.
You see what I mean? It's very subtle, but it works very, very well. Because instead of just clip, 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 it adds like a little flutter effect to it. I think it looks good. And just to give it a little bit more pop, we're going to add another effect that I like to use, exposure. You can add it onto the same adjustment layer. We'll go to the very start. We'll keyframe the exposure, probably about 2. And then we'll just go 5 frames. We'll go about half of what you did. So I went 10, so I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll keyframe that back to 0. So we're going to go into our exposure keyframes down here. I'm gonna easy ease these as well. And these I like to keep very, very short. So this one, I'm gonna hold shift on both of them. I'm gonna drag that one in all the way and drag that one in all the way. I like that. We'll play it before and we'll play it after just to give you a taste. So before, without the adjustment layer, this is what it looks like. And then after the adjustment layer, this is what it looks like. See, I think it looks a lot better. These are just the little tiny things that you can do to make it look 10 times better, in my opinion, because it gives characteristic, it gives a feel to the viewer. So I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna add these screen pumps to each one of these layers. So after we've gone through, we've added that same adjustment layer with the same settings that I just showed you. We've added that same adjustment layer with those same settings on top of every clip that transitions, and so now I'm gonna play it through again and show you what it looks like. Well, hell, we'll play it from the start. I think that came out well. So now we have to fade the beginning out. So we'll take the opacity of the original, the intro clip, go about there. We'll create another keyframe, go back to the start, select this keyframe, set that to 0. And we'll scroll down to the audio on this keyframe. We will select the audio, press L to get the audio level, keyframe it here, go back to the start, and do about -192. And then we will easy ease both of these, and go into the graph editor. See how this looks for starters. So now I'll show you the whole thing again. So now at this point we will add the zoom in, or we'll add the zoom out, and then we'll pretty much be done. To add the zoom out effect, obviously you could just go to here, press S to make a scale, do scale to 100, and then scale to 0. You could easy ease that and have it something like that. But what I like to do, I like to add motion tile. You add motion tile to it. You're gonna check mirror edges. You're gonna turn the output width to about 250, output height to about 250, just so you have those extra little borders on all corners. And then we're gonna create, you can do this with adjustment layers. I personally like to use null objects. We're gonna create 2 new null objects just by right clicking new null object. And then we're gonna go to this, the goal cinematic, split both of these at the beginning. Take this goal cinematic, we're gonna take this little parent pick whip, we're gonna click and hold on it. Oh, what the fuck did I just do? Oh, that's just After Effects being glitchy. Take this little pick whip right here, and you're gonna drag it to null 2. And you're gonna take this one from this null, and you're gonna drag it to the one above it. That way all 3 of these are linked together. At the beginning of the clip, you're going to set a keyframe for scale. We're gonna do something pretty big, just so the whole clip zooms out and it's smooth. We're gonna go about 400, and we're gonna go to the end, and we're gonna go about 5 or 6 frames in, and we're gonna set that back to 100. And then we're gonna choose the second null, open the scale. We're gonna go a little over halfway. We're gonna do the scale at 100, leave it there, and then we're gonna actually go to the very end, and we're gonna drop this down to like 40. And then we're gonna easy ease both of these. You can really do it however you want. I'll just show you my graphs. So for the bottom one, I like to go to the more of like a fast. And then the top one, I like to flatten out a little bit more. And then I'll show you what that looks like. Just adds that little shoom. And to get rid of that little effect, if you go in here, drag this one up just a little bit, it makes it a little bit faster.
nothing's new, nothing's new, nothing's new, please.
That's just a cool little way to like zoom out the whole thing instead of just like regular scale. I don't know. I think that looks cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. That is how I would make that TikTok. Yeah, if you'd like to see other videos like this or see me go more specific on certain effects like the portal effect or motion tracking or 3D camera tracking or something along those lines, just let me know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Dux signing off. Peace.